welcome back. Happy holidays to all of you. And if you're listening to this sometime in April, well, happy holidays for next year.
Or Happy Easter.
This is from WebPause. We are so powerful, yet most of us don't even begin to realize the incredible magic of our full potential.
So true.
Daniel and Tana Amen are on the cutting edge. They offer anyone who chooses to elevate their lives to new heights an exciting way to engage life in a totally new and empowering way. That will surely change their lives.
These are some cool testimonials. I love this. It's like my favorite part.
I'm so happy you're happy.
No, it makes me happy.
Because when you're happy, I'm happy.
Like helps us start our day like really cool. I like it.
All right. So we agreed in this podcast, because it's the holiday, to take on alcohol.
So we're going to talk about the benefits of alcohol.
Go ahead.
So what are the benefits of alcohol? Let's be honest. Are there any benefits, any at all?
Kills bacteria.
Right, kills bacteria.
So as a nurse, you put it on people's skin. Why? To disinfect it, to kill the bugs.
So there's some evidence.
It's been used as an anesthetic in surgery, right?
That's scary.
Get people so drunk that.
Oh, well, and like in battlefields, like when they don't have anesthesia, oh yeah, we get them sloshed. Yeah, you want them to pass out.
Right.
Right. So they don't try and kill you. So that's one thing. Small, very, very, very small amounts. There's still studies being done. This is jury's out on this, I think. But there are some studies that show that very small amounts, very occasionally, may have the effect of, what is it? It's, what's the word I'm thinking of? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So it's
hormesis.
Hormesis. So a tiny amount is like, it's like a little bit of poison makes you stronger because it makes you almost immune to it. Same reason vegetables are good for you. But when they say that, they're talking about very small amounts, very occasionally.
Well,
and most people can't
some
do
researchers and some not. Some are saying
Right, so
14 drinks a week is fine.
But most of the research shows that that leads to cancer. So, yeah.
So why am I not a fan? And it was very fashionable in the 90s to be a fan of drinking. In fact,
I was a nurse, and in the hospital, it was like, oh no, have a drink a day. Have a glass of wine a day.
And you're going to Loma Linda?
Well, they don't drink at all. But a lot of the doctors that go there are not Seventh-day Adventist. So but the research was have one glass of wine a day.
Most people don't know that that Loma Linda is in
They also don't drink
County.
coffee or eat meat they're.
And it's one of the blue zones.
Right.
That people, even though it is a smog-filled place.
Full of drugs and gang.
That Loma Linda and Loma Linda specifically, is one of the blue zones.
It's a bubble.
Where people live longer than anywhere in the world.
So I have to tell you, it was so weird. When I started working there, I used to carry my own backpack with my coffee and my meat because there was like nowhere. You couldn't find it anywhere. And I'm like, okay, there's something a little weird about this place. They were the nicest people ever. I loved my education, but I hadn't quite gotten used to this whole like temperance idea, right? So I'm like, this is just a little odd. I can't get coffee or meat or anything anywhere. And so I'm like, okay, I have to like figure this whole thing out. So I would bring all my own stuff in my contraband. So I started working in the hospital after I graduated. I began to really appreciate their lifestyle and what they're about. I'm not Seventh-day Adventist, but I really do appreciate what they're about. And as a Christian, I just love what they do. So I started working in the hospital, and all of a sudden, I'd see these, and I'm working in an ICU unit. I'm working in a level A trauma unit, but we would get overflow sometimes from the other units. And so some of the surgical patients would come in, and some of these patients were coming in, and I'm like, 99, 103, but that wasn't the most amazing part. These patients had no medical history. They were on like no medications, one medication. I'm like, what? I'm on like 3 or 4. Like, what is this? So I was like, what is going on? And you would look at them and they had no lines in their face. They're like, they just had like little tiny smile lines. And I'm like, I have more wrinkles than this person. And I was like barely 30. And so I was like, what is going on here? And I started to like put together this idea, this life of temperance might have something to it. Like there just might be something to this idea. So
So
What
in the
does-
90s, it was very popular that alcohol was a health food. But we, starting in 1991, started looking at the brain through using brain SPECT imaging we do here at Amen Clinics. And it was so clear from the moment I ordered my first scan that alcohol is not a health food, that it prematurely ages the brain. And if your brain's not right, you're not right. And so I held on to this position because I have the scans, right? I mean, there's just nothing more powerful in my mind than getting a direct look at the organ that runs your life. But, our first clinic was in Northern California near the Napa Valley. So there's always this conflict. But I held that position despite colleagues telling me I was wrong. And then it turned out that the studies that showed alcohol was associated with longevity were flawed. And
sponsored by
that-
who?
the wine industry.
Right.
And then it turned out that alcohol is directly related to 7 different kinds of cancer. So we know chemotherapy is not good for your brain. We know that chronic stress from having a diagnosis of cancer is not good for your brain. So it's associated with mouth cancer and esophageal cancer and stomach cancer and intestinal cancer and colon cancer and breast
Right.
cancer and liver cancer. And I'm sorry, anything that's associated with cancer, you should limit. And in addition, and I don't even know why I'm saying this, because I make more money if you drink, right? I mean,
selfish.
you have more.
That is completely
you
selfish.
have more fights with your wife. You're more likely to get fired. You're more likely to be depressed. You're more likely to have trouble that you need us. That if you're a drinker than if you are not. But I'm only kidding.
So those are the physical reasons, and here.
But you're more fun when you drink.
All right, so let's clarify. So I am not a person who never drinks. So I have an occasional glass of wine. I might have 3 glasses of wine a month. So that's on average. I'll have 2 or 3 glasses a month. And I never have more than one at a time because I don't like losing control. So if we're socially out, I may have a glass
And
if
you
I'm not
like
driving.
the taste of wine.
I do.
And I
Yeah.
don't.
With dinner, I like the taste of wine.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're driving, I may have a glass of wine, or if I'm at home, whatever. But I want to say something about this because it took on new meaning for me. So, I have an issue with drugs. Obviously, I was I had shock therapy as a child. So yeah, I had shock therapy as a child with drugs. So I've always been,
So
just
what that means is you grow up with
in an
around a
environment,
lot of drugs
yeah.
where you saw horrific things.
And interestingly, alcohol was never one of them. Alcohol was never one of the drugs. My mom didn't drink. My uncle did heroin. So that was just never one of the drugs. And so alcohol was never a big thing in my house. So having a drink now and then was never a big thing. And I don't like losing control. But sadly enough, recently it became a big thing in our house. Not because of us, because my nieces, who we got out of foster care, there's a lot of addiction on that side of the family. My half sister. So on that side of the family, there was a lot of addiction, and alcohol was heavily abused. So when they came to stay with us, and they do holidays with us now. Now I see alcohol very differently. It's not something you can just enjoy occasionally. It's something now I have to really look at differently. There's 0 alcohol during the holidays.
So last year, even this year at Thanksgiving, what were some of the things they said?
So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up. So one of my nieces, this was really important, and this is why
She's 8.
This is why I see the holidays so differently now, and why we don't have alcohol at all during the holidays because of the addiction. Okay, because yeah, I can have a glass of wine, but a lot of people can't do that, and we would never ever have alcohol in the house because of the people who can't.
Right. There's some people go, well, why do I have to give up my fun because of the other person?
You don't have to. It's about love. So for me, it's about love. So it's about supporting my nieces and and the rest of the people that have issues with it. Some people can have a drink and some people cannot. So I just wouldn't. And I want the rest of my family to enjoy the holidays. For me, it's about family. So one of
So
my
you're
nieces
giving the gift of comfort
and love.
by not drinking.
Yeah, and love. One of my nieces, though, this was when it became really clear to me. We were sitting around outside by the fire, and she said, holidays are so different now. She goes, I still am getting used to it. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, I don't know, they're just so mellow. They're so like comfortable and quiet. And they're so relaxed. And I said, I don't understand. She goes, well, there's no police being called. There's no screaming. I'm like, what? Like, because we didn't do holidays together before. They lived in another state. She's like, yeah, there's no police. There's no screaming. There's no one throwing stuff and like threatening each other. And I'm like, I literally like my jaw like almost hit the table. And we've never had a holiday like that. And she goes, well, not since I was little, but she goes, yeah, there's no alcohol. And whether I can have a glass of wine or not is not the point. It's not worth it.
So we talked about the benefits of alcohol. On the other side, not only is it cancer, but it's associated with premature aging in your brain. I don't know about you, I'm not okay with that. It also drops your frontal lobe, so you're more likely to say something that will hurt people's feelings. And the problem with the brain is it has memory. When you say that terrible thing, that person will remember it maybe the rest of their life.
Right.
In addition, alcohol drops your frontal lobes and it increases cravings for food. Mm-hmm. So you actually eat way more calories and you don't remember that you ate way more calories. I saw one guy last year who was really headed toward Alzheimer's disease. When you looked at his brain, it was really terrible. And I'm like, how much do you drink? And he had 3 scotches a day. And I just added up the calories from the 3 1-ounce shots of scotch a day, and it was like 25 pounds of fat he was putting on his body. And just cutting out the scotch, his brain was better. His weight was better.
And I want to throw one thing in. All of the studies, there's still a lot of controversy over whether there's health benefits to small, and when I say small amounts, I mean small amounts of alcohol. Not one of them are related to hard liquor. They're all related to small amounts of wine.
Hard liquor is actually the most toxic.
Right.
So we want you to love your brain and not pickle it. We want you to love your brain and not
So
poison
how
it.
can people, so I already talked about why I don't have alcohol in my family during the holidays. If people don't have the same issues we have, because not everybody has the same issues we have. So let's just say they don't have the addiction issues, they don't have problems with police being called, they don't have problems with foster care and all of this other stuff, the drama that we've had in our family, my family. That's not their issue, okay? So how can they safely have a drink? What is the amount they can have? What is a way? And then we'll also talk about what are the alternatives, because there's no reason to have it if you don't need it. So
You know, I tell my patients 2 to 3 normal-sized glasses of alcohol a week, that's probably okay. Except the studies with cancer showed any alcohol showed an increased risk.
And that's why I
And
stayed to like 2
so
or 3 a month, like a couple a month for
I
me
think
is
2 or 3 a month is probably more rational. And then you have to go, if this is potentially harmful for me, why do I need it? What am I treating? And for a lot of people, it's social anxiety that, you know, they feel anxious in social situations, and alcohol is the grease. It just helps them feel more comfortable. So what are some of the other things you could do to help you feel more comfortable? And there are things, you know, we talk about regularly on the Brain Warriors Way, killing the ants, the automatic negative thoughts, the 18-40-60 rule, you know, not thinking everybody's thinking about you because they're not. Meditation, hypnosis.
And so when we have parties, company parties, and we have family events, we don't have alcohol. So what are the things we do? I make a big giant thing of when you make things pretty, it tends to draw people away from, because the brain is so visual, right? So we make large jars, get those really pretty large jars to serve water with, and make them beautiful. So I'll put cranberry, like a big string of cranberries inside of it, and some blueberries. You can even throw watermelon slices or something like that inside. And just a few drops of stevia. And so just flavors it just a tad.
And sparkling water with stevia, with
Right,
a
in
little
a wine
bit
glass.
with a little bit of lime juice or lemon juice.
In a wine glass, looks
Or
beautiful.
cranberry juice.
Right.
There's so many things.
And tea.
You can do.
So one of the things I like is hot tea with some shaved ginger and cayenne because it gives it a bite, so you'll sip it slowly. Those are some nice things
Or
that...
saffron, because that'll help your mood.
Yep.
Happy holidays.
So there's a whole section in the cookbook, Brain Warriors Way, on how to do that, if that's what you'd like to do.
Great. Happy holidays. Use the code podcast10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com or on our supplements at brainmdhealth.com. Thank you for listening to the Brain Warriors Way podcast. Go to iTunes and leave a review, and you'll automatically be entered into a drawing to get a free signed copy of the Brain Warriors Way and the Brain Warriors Way cookbook we give away every month.